Hey guys, it is day 2 of MS Awareness Month. I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday's video, learning all about multiple sclerosis and autoimmune disease. Now, as promised, today we're going to take a look at inflammation. What it is, what causes it, and how can we reduce it. So let's jump in. What is inflammation? Inflammation is actually a broad term that's used to describe the immune system response in the body. So the scrape that you might have on a scuffed up knee, or the swelling of a twisted ankle, even the redness that you might experience of an ingrown fingernail, all of that is a sign of inflammation in the body. And in those cases, it's actually a really good thing because it's showing that the immune system is responding to an injury or an infection. Our immune system is our first line of defense when it comes to injury or infection. So it sends out those white blood cells to begin the repair and the healing process. So again, inflammation at the root of it is a good thing. So why does it get such a bad rap? And where does it become problematic? If we have, if the inflammation becomes too widespread or too persistent, so that immune response never turns off, even though there's no longer a state of crisis. So instead of actually healing the body, the immune system starts to generate symptoms such as aches and pains in the joints, or headaches, digestive issues, and in some cases even an autoimmune disease. Because as we talked about yesterday, the immune system can get overwhelmed and it then becomes confused as to what is a foreign invader, what it needs to attack, and what is actually the body, its own body, which it needs to actually protect. But instead, again, it gets confused and it actually turns on itself and starts to attack the body. So what's a traditional approach to managing inflammation? A lot of times medications or procedures in some cases are recommended. And in some cases they will offer some temporary relief. Unfortunately, as I said though, it is temporary because it's not getting to the root of the issue. It's not addressing what's causing the inflammation. It's kind of just putting a Band-Aid on it. The other downside to it is that it may come with some undesirable side effects. So that's the traditional approach, but what's another alternative? How can we get essentially to the root of the issue of the chronic inflammation? A lot of the chronic inflammation that we're dealing with on a daily basis comes from our diet and lifestyle. So the inflammatory foods that are in our diet, gluten, dairy, sugar, alcohol, caffeine, even heated oils, they can all promote inflammation in the body. Our lifestyle can also contribute to inflammation. Poor sleep habits, sedentary lifestyle, unmanaged stress, again, these all promote inflammation in the body. But what's the common thread with all of these? Virtually all of them are within our control. We can control the foods that we put in our mouth. We can move our body to the best of our ability. We can learn new stress management techniques. We can prioritize sleep. There's a lot that we can do to help manage that inflammation or inflammatory response in the body. So if we know that those are the things we do, what's the reality like? How do we actually implement that? From a food perspective, there's actually 2 approaches that I take when working with my clients. The first would be what's known as an elimination diet. And this is where we would eliminate all of the inflammatory foods for a defined period of time. So they essentially go on an anti-inflammatory diet. all those things that are promoting inflammation, we get them the heck out of the diet, and we replace them with a lot of anti-inflammatory foods, the foods that are going to help to soothe and calm that inflammation and inflammatory response down. And then, if appropriate, after that period of time, we'll reintroduce them in a strategic way so that we can really identify which foods are most problematic for that individual. Now, in the case of an autoimmune disease, we may choose to not reintroduce them just because we know that those foods tend to be so problematic and inflammatory. It really depends upon that individual. So an elimination diet is one option. The other option is to take a more gradual approach. So we don't wipe out everything all at once. We go after what we think is the most problematic. So taking a look at that list, what does the individual have most in their diet on a regular basis? Say that gluten is something that they have on a regular basis. Gluten is a protein that's found in wheat, barley, rye, so it's in a lot of bread, pasta, muffins, scones, baked goods, pizza, bagels, all that stuff there. If they're having a lot of gluten in their diet and that they have an autoimmune disease, that might be one of the first things that we start to eliminate. So from that perspective, I like to do what's called a crowding out method or crowding out theory, where as you reduce those foods, you do so in a way that you're putting more of the anti-inflammatory foods on the plate. So there's literally just less room on the plate for the pasta because you're putting more anti-inflammatory foods in there. Now with this approach, well, I should say one is not necessarily better than the other. It really is just what works best for you or for the individual. For example, if your health is in a state of crisis and you are highly motivated right now to make a major change, then yeah, jump right into the the elimination diet. That is one that would probably be most suited for you at that point. If you are one that you have a pretty stressful lifestyle and you tend to be one that falls off the bandwagon, so to speak, when it comes to changing your diet or going on a diet, choose the more gradual approach, because in that case, you're not going through a big stressful change of having to shift everything all at once. But beyond that, you do so in a way that you actually never feel like you're on a diet to fall off the bandwagon. So there's two different approaches. Those are certainly from a food perspective, and then of course addressing the lifestyle as well, starting to move the body, prioritize sleep, and learning some stress management techniques. This is going to be the crux of what I am sharing starting tomorrow and then throughout the month. A lot of these tips and strategies that are going to help to reduce inflammation both from a diet and a lifestyle perspective. I'm curious to know though, what do you feel is the most inflammatory aspect that you currently have in your diet and lifestyle? Is there one thing that you've really been wanting to eliminate? Again, maybe it's something in your diet, or maybe you've been wanting to move your body a little bit more, or you have trouble sleeping, so you know that that's an area where you have an opportunity to reduce inflammation. Post in the comments below, let me know. I'm still working through a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout this month, so I can certainly fine-tune things to make sure that everything is most relevant and most valuable for you guys. So comment below and make sure that you tune in tomorrow, because I'm excited to start sharing all the information for you guys. Hope you're having a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.